everyone. Hello, everyone on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. Thank you so much for joining us. So welcome to the Energy Justice Alliance conversation about green jobs. Really, there's few things more important than making sure that all of us, Black people, brown people, low-income people, get to participate in a just transition, the green energy economy. And that's what we're here to talk about today with some of our states, nay, our nation's leaders in this area. I want to really emphasize how the folks on this panel are men of color, and I'm so proud, and are also truly innovators, thought leaders in this space. So thank you very much. And I will pass this on to Paul Presendieu, co-lead of the Energy Justice Alliance.
Thank you so much, Raya. And I don't think there's the list of people that know how important green jobs is to the work that you're doing on the New York State Climate Action Council and ensuring that we have equity as the core nucleus of our climate agenda for New York State. So which is why it's really important that, and we're actually really proud that Dwayne and Alejandro took their time out of their very busy schedules to join us for this important dialogue. So Alejandro Alvarez, we have him as the co-founder and CEO of Soulful Synergy. Dwayne Norris as the co-founder and COO, the Chief Operating Officer of Soulful Synergy, a millennial minority-owned company specializing in supporting equitable sustainable development through the intentional creation of green-collar workers in environmental justice communities or our most vulnerable populations that have been historically not been addressed in terms of our New York State environmental ecosystem. Since 2013, under the leadership of Alejandro and Dwayne, Soulful Synergy has trained thousands of people in New York City and Westchester County in both English and Spanish, and helping them prepare for job opportunities that are now in demand or emerging in construction, energy efficiency, technology security, and urban farming. One of the things that's just amazing about Soulful Synergy, I'd like to share this. I know that we're definitely focused on the years ahead, but it's important that we appreciate accomplishments in the moment, is that they recently were recognized by Black Millennials for Flint as a member of their 2023 class of the National 40 Under 40 for the Young Black Gifted in Green, making them the first company leaders, millennial-led, to have this recognition in Westchester County. So it's important that the work that we talk about, the work that they're doing, this is their second year of receiving funding from the Department of Energy from the Inclusive American-Made Energy Innovation Prize. And also the work that they've been doing on the grounds, helping engage our most vulnerable members of our community. Dwayne has a strong background in financial services, as well as serving as the CEO of the Rotary Club for Harlem, and also Alejandro supporting her services in terms of how clean technology could be seen as intersectional as it is through the work that he's doing with the New York State Office of Cannabis Management, serving as one of the 13 members on the Cannabis Advisory Board, that he is placing intentional racial dialogues in the epicenter through his work on as an appointee as Westchester County Executive's George Latimer's African American Advisory Board. So we have a couple of questions that are set for both of you, but the first one that we would like to ask is, what inspired the both of you to go out and create Soulful Synergy? You are two millennials that are leading a company that definitely is becoming an invaluable component in terms of the execution of our climate agenda. So we just want to hear about what inspired your story to come together to create this amazing company.
I'm going to say thank you. So I'm a little humbled by that whole intro. It's a lot. Thank you, Paul. Thank you, Raya. Truly following in your footsteps. Raya has been a leader in this space for so long. So we really stand on the shoulders of giants in that regard. And even the award that we recently received, Paul received prior. So, you know, we literally are following in your footsteps and thankful for your leadership. You know, Alex and I are dreamers, I think, of sorts. You know, I think we envision a world that can be better. I think we know that we're capable as human beings of being better and taking care of the things that are important, making sure that people are first and our planet is primary, and that, you know, the things that we currently kind of elevate as a nation don't need to be that way. And so I think we've always kind of just been a little bit forward thinking. I remember, you know, 2010, 2010, we've been friends just going back like 17 years, put it that way. So around 2010, solar panels were becoming a lot of the rage, and we were just talking a lot about how needed energy efficiency was going to be, how cool it was to design energy efficient buildings and using sustainable and recyclable materials to do that. And I think that was a lot of the catalyst of what ultimately helped to spur the birth of Soulful Synergy, the idea of being good stewards of our earth and figuring out ways to make our planet more sustainable. And so I think that's a lot of what kind of inspired us, is the idea that we could be better. We can leverage technology and innovation to make sure our planet was remaining healthy. But Alejandro share some ideas as well on what inspired, because I may also have it wrong.
No, not at all, brother. You hit it right on the head on that one, man. And I think it's like him and I, since early on, since we met, we always knew that we wanted to make this planet healthier than we found it, in a sense, right? And especially in the places that we were working in. And I guess we both did see ourselves and just humanity, and believing in humanity in the sense of being in the immune system of this planet, right? And having ability also to make this planet healthier. And for us, sustainability was the trifecta, right? It was a place in which we were able to have resources, and that would be for everyone, right? In a sense of like, people would have access to this type of energy efficiency type of technologies, and also just the health that comes from that, right? And also just, again, being able to longevity that sustainability brings, right, to communities, and again to those that are underserved communities, to be able to have, again, healthier lives, right? For us, we saw, again, on the sustainability side, it wasn't just making the planet healthier, but it's also the communities that we were part of, right? And so many health factors that come with that. So I think that inspiration came all together to be able to come out and do the work. And again, as I just finished saying, right, the work that has to get done is through a labor force, and that's why we got so hyper focused on workforce development in order for these things to actually happen. And that's what I would say really inspired me, and I think also inspired Dwayne, is just being able to, again, to be a part of that movement.
Yeah, amazing. So one thing I want to make sure I ask the both of you is, because us at the Energy Justice Alliance, we're helping create a ecosystem of BIPOC professionals in the energy space, or residents that are close in proximity to some historical issues, to kind of create this brain trust of how we could work together and be able to get resources to our communities as fast as possible. So I want to ask both of you, most companies do not have a millennial Latino American and a millennial Black American with direct ties to the Caribbean islands as co-founders. And do you two feel that, but you having that unique, cultural ties to the diversity of America, does that help you better connect with the diversity of communities seen across America?
I'll start that one off. I would think so. I would say we bring in the culture in every sense of the word, with the sazon, from the music to the hard work ethic, and the things that we learn going back home and to where our parents were from, and learning also even the simplicity of how those lives are back home, right? And being able to come back here and connect and bring those values and those principles that you learn. I think it really has it has allowed us to really connect with the communities that we work with, and being that our communities are so diversified, right, and such different backgrounds that we interact with. It's I think it's amazing to be able to connect with people again. And it's a common story, right? Many of the people that we work with are individuals also that that are first generation, or they just again are just here for the first time, right? And understanding those hardships, right? And I think sustainability again is such it's a worldwide language, right? And something that is necessary across the board. And with that, I think it's like when we're able to interact with the people that we serve, it's just something that, again, it's like eliminates the barriers, right? Because most people do understand the importance of what we're doing, and have that mindset of again, putting in the work, and leaving this planet healthier than they found it as well. And I keep saying that, but it's really what allows us to connect to our part, not just the people that we serve, but even just the people that we work with on our team at Soulful Synergy, right? So yeah, I'll leave it there, and I think Dwayne may have some good stuff to add as well.
Yeah, I mean, I was born in the Bronx, so I'm fortunate enough, I guess, to say I'm American born, but my entire family is from the islands, from Barbados, both on my mother's side and my father's side. My family jokes a lot that I'm the only one in the family that can be president. And so I definitely was brought up with a certain upbringing that, came and is influenced by, the Caribbean and West Indian culture, which is everybody kind of was able to parent you. If you walk down the street and we're doing something wrong, the neighbor, your church going friend of your grandmother, whoever, anyone could disagree. Was not the thing, that kind of exists now, where everyone kind of kept to themselves. Like, it was very community oriented. And I think that that's something that has always been instilled in me. That when I go out, I don't just represent myself, I represent my family. That, my family came to this country looking for a life that was going to be better, and that kind of strive for, the American dream and excellence, I think, is very instilled in me. I think it's instilled of a lot of communities that have yet to kind of fully figure out how to navigate the construct that is, American economics, and build a life for themselves that is better. I think, I very much understand that it took a few generations for my family to kind of figure it out from coming here. And my grandmother never finished formal education, never even finished high school back in Barbados. I had an aunt that came here, went to college. All four of her daughters, I should say that. My grandmother raised four daughters that all are college educated. And then each one that came here brought another one with them and another one with them, and then ultimately brought her. And then, they figured out how to kind of navigate, this country. And it's something that, again, I take with me, that there are plenty of people here, born and raised here, and those who immigrate here, who want to figure out how to have a better life, but are not always figuring out how those resources connect, what education they need, training they need, what type of jobs are going to make the most impact, what are going to fulfill them, the tax structure, how to invest. Like, there's just so much to kind of navigate. And I think that having that upbringing of knowing it wasn't easy for my family, and it's not easy for many of the people that we serve, really does help us, understand the challenges of the participants that we work with. So I would say it's a unique perspective that it brings.
Yeah. The next thing I want to share is that, one of the things that, Raya, myself, and the Energy Justice Alliance are really proud of with the company Soulful Synergy is your forward-thinking leadership. Not only do you live in today, but you imagine what the energy grid should look like tomorrow. So the question I'd like to ask both of you are, what are some emerging technologies that you're proud of, projected to provide numerous employment opportunities and green jobs? And what can people do to connect with a Soulful Synergy to be able to prepare themselves for these opportunities?
You want to
Really
take
good
this
questions.
one, Dwayne?
Yeah, sure, why not? Really good questions. As I said, I think we were both very fascinated by solar and a lot of the concepts that, were being spawned around the Obama days. And it's not that solar was brand new at that time, but I think it was starting to make a lot more waves. And since then, it's, started to become much more of a well-adopted and, better performing technology. I think they figured out a lot of ways to make solar panels more efficient, more weather resistant, more durable. You don't need to think about swapping them out every few years. The technology is just much more kind of refined, and I think that's something that's exciting to see more solar taking. I was just speaking to somebody today from Mexico who says he spends $3. He has 3 solar panels in his house, and spends $3 every month on his energy, because he has solar panels that provide him, the place where he lives is constantly with sunlight, and he has a split system heat pump that he uses as needed. I think I'm very excited about heat pumps as a technology to be able to make more efficient use of our heating and cooling. Something that we're involved in with our Clean Energy Academy cohort is focused around helping people do energy efficiency audits for buildings to think about how they can transition from their traditional HVAC units to a potential air source heat pump. We were able to go to a building recently with one of our colleagues, Michael Murphy in Westchester and Ron Kamen, who are working on a 13,000 square foot facility, and they home, I should say, not a facility, house. This is somebody's personal house, but they've installed geothermal ground source heat pumps into that building and used a cogeneration system, which we found fascinating. We are currently in the space of providing electric vehicle training. So we have transportation electrification training that NYSERDA has funded, in which we're helping people to understand the opportunities in electric vehicles, how to calculate the amount of energy consumption they may need, what type of charging stations may work best for them, residentially, commercially, and really thinking about what type of EVs may, again, suit their needs. Very interested in that, very interested in offshore wind as a technology. We're fortunate to have received funding in the state of New Jersey in partnership with the New Jersey Environmental Justice Alliance to run an offshore wind training program that will be helping people kind of think about where offshore wind is going. We know it's still a few years away from its full application, but these type of technologies that are very kind of forward thinking in both renewable and energy efficiency spaces, I think give us a lot of hope that the future can be a more sustainable one, and that fossil fuels will hopefully be a thing of the past. So those are some of the things I think we're keeping an eye on collectively.
Well, I mean, didn't leave much technology for me to talk. No, but definitely, thank you. Now you articulated everything very well, man. And yeah, no, I echo everything that Dwayne just said. I think all these technologies that we're going to be a part of and learn more from, because I mean, the great thing about being in this space is that we're in a constant place of change. And I think for people like Dwayne and I, and just the people on our team, we really, enjoy that. And to be able to, like, there's a level of excitement that comes with that. With that said, I think, one of the things, and I may be playing a little devil's advocate here, what I'm about to say, but I'm also really interested in what AI is about to do, right? And I think, artificial intelligence is a whole other play right now that is out there as far as being able to leverage technology to help better streamline these inefficiencies, right? I mean, there's a lot of talk on the business side, on supply chain management of sorts, where AI is really becoming very crucial on being able to, again, identify these inefficiencies and these things that are not only hurting the planet, but ultimately also finding ways that it's also hurting the business, right? So these are little small things already that artificial intelligence is doing in order to help us better identify where we can make these changes, right? So, but with that said, I think that with electric vehicles as well, I not just on the cars and fast speed type of machines, but I'm also a big fan of scooters and electric bikes and things of that nature, and where we're looking to also have classes and teaching our participants and introducing them to electric vehicle world through having them repair electric scooters, right? Because fixing an electric scooter, all the components within it, it's a great way to help our participants learn about that space. So I would say, again, everything that Dwayne just mentioned, and again, how AI is coming into play, I think it's one of those things that is exciting to see how it rolls out and evolve, and how it all works together to hopefully meet the energy efficiency and sustainability goals that we have.
Thank you so much, Alejandro, and thank you, Dwayne. When it comes to AI, it's the jobs that Soulful Synergy is supporting are jobs that people could think are more secure from artificial intelligence or globalization. But the fact that you're looking at how to incorporate artificial intelligence at the horns to be forward thinking, that's amazing. And we're happy that you two are definitely right now in the process of looking into that. The next question I want to ask you is in terms of your lived experience leading Soulful Synergy as a company. We're in a unique position where we have not only you two as co-founders of Soulful Synergy, We also have Raya Salter, who serves on the New York State Climate Action Council, who is a strong advocate of economic justice and hiring locally for a lot of developments happening with the use of sustainable technology and making sure that we're engaging vulnerable populations. So the question I would like to ask, you, Alejandro, and also Dwayne, is, if you could, provide us a little bit of insight of what it means to lead Soulful Synergy, what it means to be engaging vulnerable populations, engaging historically underemployed, single parents, previously incarcerated, people that might only have a high school diploma and GED, that don't think that there are many two options for them available to have a fair shot at the American dream. Is there anything that you two want to share about that experience? Because it is encouraging to hear that there is a company like Soulful Synergy that is directly engaging these populations that historically have been underwritten or looked over in everyday American society.
I mean, I'll mind if I start down?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, for us, I think there's a couple of components to it. First and foremost is, when we're working with our, with the people that we serve, we want them to be able to also, have them identify, their why, their purpose of why they want to get involved in this space, right? And then from there is providing the guidance of, all right, well, this is why you want to be in this space. Now, how do you want to participate, right? What part of this whole spectrum of opportunities do you want to be a part of, right? And then coupling that with past experiences, right, of now understanding the transferable skills they might have gained, and past work life and so forth, and from there, connecting them and finding them the pathway with the partnerships that we have. Ultimately, for us, it's important when we get into any space that we do have the necessary resources to make these things happen. And it does begin with us building the right partnerships with organizations, local nonprofits, local government agencies, municipalities, and so forth. And more importantly, the contractors and the employers that we're going to be working with, in order so when we do have our trainings and the services that we provide, there's something on the back end for the participants as well. And also, it's very important to be realistic of what's going on locally in the space that you're trying to serve, right? As Dwayne mentioned, we're very excited to be in the electric vehicle space. Now we're doing some offshore wind. But at the end of the day, these were not things that were available up until now. So if anyone that really wanted to get into and I mean heavily available up until now, right? And anyone that would want to get into this type of space might have had to look for work, let's say in the Midwest, if they wanted to get into wind energy, and it would have been very hard for them to find that type of work here. So again, it's as we always say, it's not just about teaching people how to fish, but it's teaching people how to catch the fish they want. And as we go along, again, it's very important to stay up to date on what's going on and really understand where the currents are going. And I mean, Dwayne, you just shared recently and how the funding for the Long Island offshore wind project, for example, is having issues because of inflation, because it's costing them double of what the expected costs are, and now they're tightening further the funding opportunity there, right? So for us, seeing those things happening, it's important for us to follow those that type of news and understanding the current climate in these spaces, no pun intended, to know which way to better direct the people that we serve. So yeah, I'll stop there, and I'm sure Dwayne has a lot more to add.
I've got a few thoughts. The training that we do is, as you mentioned, dedicated towards NYSERDA has actually put this term priority populations, right? That's a term that they've coined and that we, agree with, in terms of those historically harmed by the environmental injustice and some of the policies and practices that have happened in the past. Those who are low income, as you mentioned, single parents, those who come from communities with poor air quality, what used to be called environmental justice zones, those are formerly incarcerated veterans, etc. Right now, there's an opportunity, right? We understand that as New York State, specifically where we are, puts money, right, invest resources into repairing our communities, somebody has to do that work. So there's a CLCPA, Climate Leadership and Community Protection Act, that New York State has passed, aligned with the Justice 40 initiative from the Biden administration, that allocates 40% of investments to communities that have been disproportionately impacted, right? Disadvantaged communities, as they call them. Now, those communities are getting 40% of investment, but it doesn't guarantee that they get to do the work. It doesn't say that you have to hire 40% local. It doesn't say you have to hire 40% minority businesses. It just says that they're going to receive the investments, the benefits. What does that fully mean? I don't fully know yet. And that's why I'm so glad to have somebody like Raya advocating for what does that mean? Because if you hire the same old contractors, the same big contractors, white owned or the big players, and they come in and do the work to put in solar and green roofs and, you know, green spaces and swap out the HVAC systems and the heat pumps and retrofit the buildings, and they do all of the work, but they don't hire locally, they don't contract MWBs, then it's a cash grab of sorts, right? There's no actual economic benefit being left behind to those communities, and that's an issue. So our work is centered around training people for the jobs that they hopefully will get to do in their own backyard and actually have a say in how their communities are redesigned and transformed through these investments. And so, you know, NYSERDA has been very focused on making sure that any funding that they give out for workforce development has criteria around training people from disadvantaged communities and people from priority populations. And in our estimation, it's in large part so that when this funding comes out, people who are local can actually work on those projects. And the big developers who come in and usually get those contracts can't say, well, we couldn't find anybody locally to work, so we didn't hire local, or we couldn't find any MWB contractors to contract with because, you know, there were none that were qualified, because we're already training them. They're ready. They have the skill sets and they can participate. So that is the economic benefit that we want to ensure stays within those communities. So that is a big part of, I think, this whole effort of ensuring not only that we have a say in how our communities are designed and what type of air quality we have and water quality, but also that we have the ability and the skill set and the knowledge and the know-how to impact that work on a day-to-day basis.
Thank you so much, Dwayne. Thank you, Alejandro. So for our next question, we would like to share is that, you know, on top of the amazing work that Soulful Synergy has been doing in helping create green collar workers out of our most vulnerable populations, you also are the only company that we know of regionally that is hosting specific Black and Latino dialogues in sustainability. How important is that type of work for the both of you, especially with engaging the mindset of our young Black and Latino youth who might have limited exposure to what it really means to be successful in the United States of America?
You start that one, brother.
Happily. It means a lot. And, you know, we've had a great leader in Paul Presendieu to help us make that a reality. So it means a lot to have you on our team and helping to spearhead these initiatives, because to your point, you know, and to my previous point, people can't participate if they don't know. You know, if you don't know that there are these green job opportunities out there, that you don't necessarily need to have a college degree, that 60% of the workforce in the clean energy sector today in New York does not have a college diploma, that the average wages are $60,000 to $70,000 a year, that there's opportunities for you to, you know, participate in a way that's meaningful, and that you don't have to go and, you know, go a traditional route. That again, you have the ability to have a direct impact on your indoor air quality, your outdoor air quality, your water, your waste, and have that say and participate in the way energy is consumed. Like, that is a big deal. But if you don't even know these opportunities exist, that you have a way to participate, it is a huge gap, right? That's an education gap. It's like, you know, when you're doing any type of business, there's something called customer acquisition costs. And sometimes you have to educate your consumer before they can even acquire your product, because they don't even know that it's something they need. And this is kind of one of those things where, growing up for me, especially, I could say, if this was not taught in high school, the whole reduce, reuse, recycle is probably the most that ever came out anytime I was in school about sustainability and what that means. There was no real concept around fully global warming, no concept fully around climate change and weather patterns and anything that could kind of give you a sense that there's this whole other dynamic taking place. Just, you know, let's be more conservative about what we use, reduce, reuse, recycle. And I think that this generation especially young Black and brown youth have an opportunity to really chart a different path, participate in a different way, be awakened to what's happening, and have a way in which they can impact. And I think that's a powerful thing to be able to share, and for us to have a role in that, how could we not? It's been a fun journey to be on part of those panels and
Yeah,
sharing that
Dwayne
stage
always
with
will say
our
everything so
local
eloquently. I would
Thank
say,
you, thank
you know,
you.
it's a I also, I guess for me, and again, I echo everything that Dwayne says. I'm sorry, my little puppy's over here messing around my computer. Is, you know, sustainability is a common language, right? And it doesn't matter where you come from or where you're from, and even it doesn't even, you know, even your class, right? Like where you are on the financial class and so forth. And it's, you know, this is something that's important, and especially in a time now that, you know, that we live in, as things are so divided, right? We're always so divided. And I think sustainability is able to bring us together on a common goal that that we could all, you know, understand that is important. And I guess, you know, that's something that for us is very, you know, is I guess drives us to be able to get the message out and create these dialogues, right? And create, you know, conversation around what sustainability is and how people can better participate in sustainability. I mean, you know, for us, one of the great examples of that was also during COVID time when we were, you know, providing services with Daniel Bonet out in on 95 Lincoln, providing food, right? And one of the things that we did, even you know, besides the, you know, doing the food donations and the distribution and so forth, is that we started an urban farm at Heritage Homes, and that was something again that came from the community coming together, because it was again, you know, 95 Lincoln, West Cop, you know, just the local residents and the Soulful Synergy team just coming in and doing something like this, because we understood the importance of it, right? So I guess again, what the continuous importance of this is how you continue to break barriers in so many different ways, and the excitement of transferable skills. And I say that, you know, for many individuals that may think that because they, you know, haven't been part of the energy efficiency world or sustainability, that they may not have the skill sets to be able to participate in it. But in reality, they do. There's so many skill sets that are needed to move this industry along, that, you know, being able to help guide these hard-working people to do this work is again also something that is, you know, very exciting and important, right? And I think that again, having these conversations and hopefully through that, getting people excited about this space will allow, you know, again, not just Black, Latino community, but the whole community, the community as a whole, right, to get excited to participate in this space, right? But again, making sure that, you know, we make these resources and make these resources available to everyone. And as what Dwayne mentioned, priority populations cannot be left behind in this, right? So yeah, again, that's definitely why it's important to continue with these dialogues and conversations and you know, and making sure it reaches as many people as possible.
Thank you so much, Alejandro. Thank you, Dwayne. This dialogue has been amazing. We've already had 40 minutes pass by. So we're going to we have two more questions we're going to ask you, and then we can have a wrap up. So the first question I want to ask is, what advice do you have for individuals looking for a green job? What can they do? And most importantly, how can they connect with Soulful Synergy?
Dwayne, I think you do better on that one. Yeah, go ahead, Dwayne.
And you know, Alejandro just said it, is people have a lot more to offer than they think they do sometimes. A lot of times, maybe sometimes, a lot of times. We undersell ourselves, we sell ourselves short because of where we grew up, or, you know, what education we have, or whatever the case may be. But we all have a lot to contribute. Like, this is, you know, our climate agenda, you know, is a very lofty set of ambitions, goals, and targets. Some people would call like a moonshot, right? In order to get there, it's almost like we don't know how it's going to happen, but it has to happen in order for it to really have an impact and move the needle on our climate change goals and our climate action needs, right? And what that means is kind of all hands on deck. we run a training program, as we noted, the Clean Energy Academy, that is run in partnership with Willdan Energy Solutions, supported by Con Edison and their kind of network of contractors that's been funded by NYSERDA. And within that training program, we're teaching people about energy efficiency for buildings. So they're learning how to do energy audits on lighting, HVAC, heat pumps, building envelope, heating and hot water systems, so that they can understand how to make those building systems more efficient. What I usually tell people during the info sessions, as we're recruiting or as we're engaging people who are concerned or trying to figure out where they can participate, is this end-to-end process is a process. Somebody has to go out and educate the community, right? So we need a sales and outreach team. If you're somebody who's good with sales or good with speaking to people, very community oriented, connects well with your neighbors, like we need you. We need people who can go out there and be ambassadors and share this information, that there's ways for people to get an energy audit, low cost or no cost, funded by NYSERDA or Con Ed or their local utility, that they don't have to pay for. Then you need someone who can actually do the audit. So you need someone who's good at data collection, who has a kind of analytical mind and can data capture and analyze. You need someone who can then do the installation. You need people that have the hands-on skill sets that we also train for, that can come in and install the new lighting, the new HVAC, the heat pumps, the solar panels, whatever it is that they're looking to do as they install their energy efficient technologies. You need people to inspect that work. So you need people with kind of like a safety and compliance kind of mindset and background. You need people who can do design and engineering work. You need people who can do operations and maintenance, superintendents, facilities managers. You need people who do policy, who do advocacy work. You need people who just run the gamut of all of these various services, and it's all intertwined. Like if you're somebody that has hands-on skills, you're someone who has communication skills, you're somebody who has marketing skills, you're somebody who has policy skills and writing skills, like across the board, we need you. So that's something I'll share as my advice: is don't sit on the sidelines if it's something you truly want to do. Investigate, YouTube research, reach out to us, soulfulsynergy.org. Email us. We can probably find you a program or connect you to programs that we're already involved in, and take your steps. It does not have to be as daunting as you think it is, and better you start now than wait until the climate and the planet is in disrepair, which it may already be. I mean, who knows? I'm an optimist, so I'm gonna say we have a way out, but definitely not something that you need to sit back and wait till things are perfectly aligned. Like, this is the time to get in the fight and to join people like Raya and Paul and figure out where you can lend your effort and your knowledge, because it's all needed.
Yeah, and I think again, always well said, brother. I would suggest just don't be discouraged, right? Don't be overwhelmed about this space, right? I think that it can feel that way. And I would say Dwayne and I are great examples of that, right? We come from different backgrounds, but when we did get involved in clean energy, we weren't sure, how exactly we were gonna play a role in this. But as we learn more about it, right, and learn, where our skill sets were needed, right, because that's important understanding to have, that there's skill sets, as Dwayne said, that are needed, that already, probably exist in a lot of individuals, to take advantage of that, right, for themselves, and also take advantage of technology, right? There is, what they call YouTube University. I think most of the clean energy stuff that I learned about was, online and documentaries and learning the language. And what I recommend for people is also to, like I just said, learning the language and the local language around this, right? Dwayne mentioned NYSERDA, right? It's a very important government agency to know about, right? Understanding the current state sustainability goals, right? And where those things are going. And as we always like to say on our team, right, it's, we don't, like Wayne Gretzky said, right, we don't chase the puck, we set ourselves up where the puck will be, right? And I think if people that are looking to get in this space find ways to set themselves up where the puck will be, I think that they'll have a lot of success. And lastly, leveraging these organizations that we have here today, right, and the people that we have here today, contacting us and even picking our brain around this space and even if you want further deeper discussion around the questions that were asked today, I think that these are just ways, simple ways to learn more, and just building your network, right? Because as much as the space is the need is so large, the community is still very small, right? And we, we all tend to work together in one form or another, and plugging yourself into this network, I think it's another very important thing to do to better discover, how you can participate, right? Because again, this journey called sustainability, and this work that we're doing is a point of discovery, because there's so much to do, and there's so many things that we're learning how to leverage technology to make this planet healthier again, and it's a cool ride. So yeah. So with that said, I know that you also were asking how they could reach us. They can check us out on our website, www.soulfulsynergy.org, not .com, .org. You could also find us on Instagram _soulfulsynergy_, also on Facebook, and our
LinkedIn.
email. Go ahead. See, Dwayne,
No,
you take my thunder.
LinkedIn.
You forgot, and I remember, and I still in my thunder. I'm just kidding. Do it, brother. No, go ahead, please. I do not.
I was just reminding LinkedIn as the third social media
the third
platform.
one?
I know Alex is on their list. That's why I just want to make sure I'm reminding them. I'm
Get
on
all
there a
the
bit more,
socials
but
out there.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, that's it. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Just one last question before I give the floor back to our the woman that helped us convene this conversation, Raya Salter. Looking ahead, and I'm actually really happy being able to ask this conversation, because most of the BIPOC residents that we connect with are looking to get into sustainability, but we're actually talking to two company leaders that are accomplishing 10 years of leading an organization. So what the question we would like to ask both of you is, looking ahead, what are your long-term goals and aspirations for Soulful Synergy, and what legacy do you look to have to leave in the fields of sustainability, workforce development, and environmental justice?
I want a hammock on the beach, and I want to have a beach to have a hammock on. That's what I want. No, I would say long term. I would say just continue to exist in the space and be able to provide effective solutions to what we're looking to accomplish. And I think, for us, as you know, Paul, Raya, it's always a vibe, right? And being able to do this together as a team and having fun doing it is very important. And being able to participate again in meeting these sustainability goals, local goals, and being part of other people's legacy and helping them accomplish their hero's journey, as what we talk about, and be able to be a part of that for them, is to us is really important. And yeah, I think just, I've always seen sustainability as things coming together, right? Homeostasis, interconnectiveness, right? And how everything works together. And again, long term is being able to continue to work with local communities, with our priority populations, and being able to create a stage where people can rock out, man. I think, for us, our goal is not to be the singer nor anybody up there playing the instruments. We just provide the stage and provide the tools and equipment for people to actually go up there and be the best versions of themselves, and leave an impact on this planet. So I think, long term, for us is to continue to do this work, and continue to do this work with passionate individuals like you, Paul, partnerships like you, Raya. It's what makes this all fun and worth it. So I say, yeah, that would be, continues to be the long term, is to enjoy this ride and make it out alive on the other end.
I agree with everything my brother said there. I feel as though I don't really know exactly what the history books will say of us and the work that we do, and exactly what the legacy may be, but I do feel as though environmental justice and the equity that we're seeking has a lot to do with everything that we're speaking about here, is using your voice, being engaged, being knowledgeable so that you can be engaged, and ensuring that you have a say. So for a lot of years, our communities did not have a say. You know, the powers that be, those that are in government, those that have the dollars and cents to decide how our communities are constructed, decided where, you know, the waste transfer stations were going to go, and where the landfills were going to go, and where the highways were going to run through, and just how everything was going to design, and what oil we were going to use in our buildings, and what access to resources we had. And it was just, you know, we were subject to whatever was decided for us. And I think when you know better, you do better. And we're in a situation where we have access to information at our fingertips through our phones, through AI. I use ChatGPT to educate me on a bunch of things. We are no longer allowed, I think, to claim any levels of ignorance, because it doesn't serve us, but also we just have so much access to information. And so we need to use it to empower ourselves and to communicate and to really create this community so that we can have that say and reverse some of the harms that have been done. And so I think for us, that is a goal that we continue to seek, is for more people to be engaged and have a say and feel empowered to have control over kind of their own community destiny. And I think if we continue to do that at a grassroots level, community level, state level, national level, these things will permeate. They will reverberate, and we will have that impact that we're looking for, where everybody kind of knows what to do and how to do it, and we're all doing it together. And so if that happens, then I think our legacy will be written, I guess, as somebody who helped be a part of that change. I don't know. But I'll tell you, we started off, I don't think we had an idea where we were going. We didn't know we were going to go into workforce development. We didn't know we were going to do anything that I think we're doing today. We started off our first, we had a meeting today with our team, actually going over the history of our 10 years. Our first like contract or first like endeavor was actually textile recycling. We thought we were going to like change the world by removing textiles from the landfills because they don't biodegrade. And so we set up recycling bins all over various housing complexes, including Parkchester and the Bronx, and you know, different facilities, so that people could put their clothing in a space in which it would not go to the landfill. It would get recycled, or even sometimes sold to a third world country where people needed the clothing, but it could get recycled into rags for wiping, or into stuffing for your car, or your toys, or, you know, just reuse, right? We thought clothing and removing that from the landfill was like a way we can make that impact. Still believe it today, but we've now moved into a way in which I think we can economically empower people as well. And that to me is a huge way to reverse the challenges that many of our communities face. When we don't have economic power, we also don't have political power. Unfortunately, that's the way America runs, right? You don't have economic viability. There are current statistics that say by the year 2053, the Black community will be economically extinct, as I like to call it, but meaning our wealth will be zero. Like, can you imagine that? A community of millions of people having $0 in wealth in a country that we helped to build, right? And so thinking about that is baffling, but essentially what that means is our debts will outweigh the assets that we own. And if that's the case, again, how do you get people into office if you don't have the resources to pull the levers, right? It's not free to get into office in America, unfortunately. It's not free to be able to convene and to have your own just to real estate and places to meet and everything else that comes with it. So economic power, unfortunately, is political power in America, and those things need to kind of be hand in hand for us to really, in our disadvantaged communities and priority populations, to have a say in what our communities' futures are. So I think workforce development has been the way in which we look to restore some balance and put ourselves in a position to have more equal access and more say.
Thank you so much, Dwayne. Thank you, Alex. You know, obviously the month of October is a moment where our nation reflects on Energy Awareness Month. This year, you know, Raya, myself, and the Energy Justice Alliance wanted to talk about how we could provide this energy justice component, and we thought green jobs and highlighting the amazing work being done by Soulful Synergy would be a great way for us to convene that level of a dialogue. We really thank the both of you, Dwayne, you, Alex, for taking times out of your very busy schedules to support us with this conversation. But I also want to thank the woman that convened us to be able to have this conversation in a safe space, Ryan Salter, attorney, executive director of the Energy Justice Law Policy Center, because it all starts with you, Raya, being able to have us have this space to be able to have this dialogue, especially if we're looking and we're not seeing too many other people support this level of a conversation. So with that being said, Raya, I'd like to give the floor to you so that you could be able to, close us out and make sure that we are continuing doing things the right way, so that New York could be that example that the federal government looks at and say that they're doing things the right way over there in New York.
That's exactly right. We are doing our darndest. So I just want to say thank you so much wisdom, everybody knowing what to do to solve this problem and doing it together. Like, what a vision for the future, and follow, really kind of helping folks along their hero's journey and be the best versions of themselves and having fun while we do this. Just beautiful. Thank you for your thought leadership, for your work, for your time. Folks, hit folks up on socials. Follow Climate Auntie on Instagram, Energy Justice Alliance, on all the socials.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. And we look forward to talking to everybody again soon. Thank you so much.